Hi, friends, and welcome to the Boxerville Homestead Knitting Podcast. Today is May the 18th. Is it May the 18th? It is May 18th, 2023. So now I'm trying to think, how many years ago was it that Mount St. Helens blew? I was, I believe, still living at home. And I'm getting off on a tangent here because all of a sudden I just thought of that. Um, I was probably, I honestly don't remember, but we got ash at home. It covered our cars. Um, yeah, 1980, right? Yeah, I graduated 82. So 1980. So that would be 43 years ago. Wow, I cannot believe it's been that long. It's pretty amazing. I remember following it on television and watching the elderly gentleman that was living up there and refused to go. And I can't think of his name now, but I'm sure you guys have all heard the story. Anyway, today I'm coming to you, as always, from the Pacific Northwest. It has been super warm. I'm trying to film outside because it's just so beautiful. There's a great breeze today, which is nice because it's 80 degrees again. And we have been in the 80s and 90s for quite a while. And for May, that's unusual for us. Um, it's often May is, April showers brings May flowers, but it's never quite this warm that I remember. I'm guessing, though, that we have our pool up and going again, so it should rain soon because it always does after we put the pool up. And Memorial Day weekend is coming for us in the United States, which can be another gloomy, wet experience because people want to go camping. So anyway, I hope you can hear the birds in the background. The hummingbirds have been with the babies in the nest now, which they do every year this time of year. We feed year round. There's one behind me. I switched out food today. Um, there's one right there. I don't know if you can see it. I can hear it buzzing. They sound like little Volkswagens to me. Anyway, we feed year round. We light them in the winter so that they don't freeze. I think our favorite one is the one that's on the window, so you can watch them right up close, and they're a lot of fun to watch. But you can also hear songbirds in the distance. It's wonderful. We're also very fortunate. We have an eagle's nest across the creek, and so we see it's almost unnerving to be outside, and all of a sudden this shade comes over you because their wingspan is crazy, right? Such a majestic, and what a gift. I mean, to be able to live that close to them. It's pretty amazing. Knitting podcast. See, I'm already off. I have tons of notes. I just hope I can follow them. Welcome to my returning viewers. We went over 200. It just really surprises me. It's not huge numbers, but for me, I am tickled to pieces, and I am thankful for each and every one of you that have come back. And if you're new, I hope you give us a try. It's a fun group. They interact with me a lot. I really appreciate it a lot. I'm getting to know names and recognize names and comments. Um, it's really cool. I'm just so happy that I did this. I'm a nurse by trade. Emergency medicine is what I have done the majority of my career. Did I say my name is Carol? My name's Carol. I just got sidetracked, which you will notice I do. Again, the weather's been crazy good right now. It's like I said, I believe when I came outside it was 80, but we have a lovely breeze, so you may hear my wind chimes. I actually have laundry hanging out. Um, and on another side note, since that seems to be, my specialty, there's a lot of nurses that have come on and contacted me, which is, I think it's kind of cool. So, I mean, if you're a nurse on here, I love to have comments from anybody. But when you get on and you say you're a nurse, I just think, how cool. There must be a lot of us nurses that we knit, probably to relieve the stress from our job or just creative people in general. I don't know. We just love to knit as a rule, I believe. I actually, some of the nurses, actually, two of them, well, there's actually, so Nan was one of the nurses that commented, and Lois. And then Sheila said that her daughter is a nurse. And some of the, oh, and Dawn, thank you for telling me as far as the last podcast. I believe this is episode 13. See, I am every which way but loose already, you guys. Welcome to Carol's Brain. Dawn came on and said, yes, Carol, dishcloths are finished objects. So thank you. That made me feel better. Some of the people that Diana mentioned on there that she actually lived in Oregon, but she's now in Tennessee. I wonder what a difference that is. It has to be a big difference coming from this area, Pacific Northwest, Oregon included, to Tennessee. That has to be a big change, I would think. And Donna remembered the romper room. She is actually, I believe, in Chicago. I think it was all over the United States. I don't think it was just Seattle. I think the gal that I remember listening to, I want to say her name was Miss Nancy. For some reason, that rings a bell. I have a sister named Nancy, so maybe that's the reason, actually. Let's see. What do we have on today? So on today's episode, I have an FO, believe it or not. As usual, a couple of whips, and I have a what's going up next on the needles. Have I reached out or touched on all of the things I wanted to just kind of throw out there to begin with? I think I have. There's a couple of podcasts, a couple of gals that I've been interacting with that's been really fun to talk to and to get to know. And I'll mention them here maybe towards the end. I'm also going to take you on a little trip through the garden at the end. So if that's not something you care to see, you can shut off. We do a wide range of things here at Boxerville. And so I always try to get knitting at the beginning and then get into a little dog rescue sometimes. Gardening, preserving season's coming up, so I'll be canning. And oh my gosh, I made good cookies today. It's a recipe that's on the internet. There's two. It's a chocolate chip, so it's the best chocolate chip cookies in the world, and then the worst chocolate chip cookies in the world. Two separate recipes. I kind of combined them, which I usually do. I didn't feel like browning butter today, and I just wanted to get them done this morning before it got too warm and warm the house up. But I'll put those in because they're on the. I'll put the links in. Both of them super good if you like chocolate chip. Who doesn't, right? Dark chocolate chip cookies are our favorite. Okay, let's start. On the needles is. Let's start with the FO. Let me show you what's finished. Look at this. I can't wear it, you guys. It's too hot. But I will put it on, and I'll put a video in right here. So I'll leave some. This is the Easton Pullover, and this is by Two of Wands. The first name Alex, I can't remember, I apologize, but it's Two of Wands. I actually read the story on how I read the story how she came up with the name. So this is, like I said, the Easton Pullover with an end to weave in. Actually, if I could show you down the inside of one of the, I'll show you. I did one side and I'm like, I can't do any more today. I will wait until another day because I can't wear this right now. Although we are going camping soon and I will bring it camping. This is knit out of Lion Brand Hue and Me, which is a combination wool acrylic. I don't remember the percentage. Majority of it is acrylic. I kind of looking back wish I would have shopped some wools in this weight and the colors, but I can do it again. It's a fun, super fun, bulky weight or chunky, I can't remember which one, knit that goes really fast, even though it's knit in pieces. So Lion Brand, Hue and Me. This is the Agave, Desert, and the striped darker color is Arrowwood. I love that color. It's one of my favorite colors. And I talked a lot about what I was going to do with the neck. Now, I didn't know if I wanted to do it all in the arrowwood just to make it look different, or do it just in the desert. And I almost just did it in the desert. I thought agave, and I thought, no, I really don't want that up around. I didn't really want it up around my face. I wanted, well, you see what I did. I did about 5 different versions until I finally got this one. I ended up just striping it as like the stripe here, just 2 rows of it. I did the knit one, purl one, but I did the knit through the back loop, and then I did the sewn bind off. Can't even think of the name of it right now. Is it called the Old Norwegian or something like that? But it has that lovely, I think it's lovely, probably not everybody, but I like it, rounded off. I just think it just looks finished, right? To me, it looks finished, polished. I did the same thing with the cuff on the sleeves. And guess what? I made the sleeves on this sweater same length, people. If you watch my previous podcast, you know that I had a little, let's just say that Felix and I, we have a love-hate relationship, and it's more towards the hate. And I still have not fixed that sleeve, but that's my next project, kind of. I'll have it done for next podcast. Anyway, did the stripe. I actually knit it. I think it's the first time I've ever knit something exactly. Oh gosh, I am hitting that microphone, aren't I? Lord have mercy. I hope I've not blown your ears out. I forget I have that thing on there. If I did, I'll cut it. I don't know. You guys know me. I'm liable to do anything. First time I have ever knit a sweater, a garment, anything, I think, in exactly the yarn that the designer did. But I saw this and I was like, I'd have to do it. And I actually sent it to pictures to a friend of mine who's also a maker. She's a crocheter. Oh my gosh, mosaic. Some of the stuff she does is amazing. Anyway, she's like, Carol, that looks like you, like I've never seen. And I truly agree. I think it does too. I knit a size 2. I am between a small and a medium. It really depends upon how much room I can get in the bust. I consider it cursed. Some people might consider it blessed with a larger bust. It's not something I would wish on anybody. So I really have to be mindful of that. And you'll hear about it in something else that I have that's a whip right now that I'm working on figuring out how to make that work. Anyway, the recipe or pattern for my size called for 3 of the desert. And I broke into the 3rd, but I have quite a little bit of it left. And then it called for 2 of the agave and 2 of the arrowwood. I didn't even use 1 of the agave or 1 of the arrowwood total. So I have those left. That's fine. I'll make crochet bags or something out of them. Who knows? I may make another sweater. If I really like this, I have enough with all of the other colors that I have that I could make a striped sweater. And that would be pretty darn cute, actually, now that I think about it. Perfect for camping. And it's perfectly cute anyway, right? So anyway, what else can I tell you about it that I haven't already told you about? It is a seamed sweater, and you know what? I'm sure the devil himself invented seaming of a sweater. I hated that more than anything. Ugh, it was awful. I do have this side seamed and the ends tucked in, believe it or not, even though that one looks odd. Oh, it just needs a trim. I didn't trim that one. But you want to see this other side? This gives me a nightmare because I know what I have to do. This is what it looks like. Ugh. And I could have carried down more than I did when I was knitting, but I didn't want it any more bulky there. This sweater, it says it's meant to be knit with 10 to 12 inches of positive ease. I don't like that much. I'm not going to use my age as it. I just don't feel comfortable with that much box around me for some reason. I've seen it. It looks super cute. Actually, I have a friend that's older than I am. She wears a lot of the boxy stuff, and it looks fabulous. On me, I'm not comfortable in it. I hope that is not distracting in the background. We never have cars up and down this road here. And today there's something up there that the guy at the end of the road must be putting in a new a building or something. I'm not sure. So there's noise. I should stop and listen to this with me banging on the microphone and that. And I hope you can't hear the fountain in the background. I hope you're just hearing me and the birds and seeing this beautiful day that we're having here. So anyway, that is my Easton pullover. It was really fun to knit. It was a fast knit. Really, it took longer to seam it for me than the knitting of it. I did the mattress stitch, which it is kind of like magic, isn't it? When you like pull it after you've been seaming and then you pull it and it just kind of all comes together. A little bit harder with stripes to, you know, ensure that your stripes are matching up. Because another thing is I can't count. And some of these rows had 7, and then the other part had 8, you know, 7, 8. It's me. You know, it wouldn't be normal for me if I didn't do something like that in everything. Anyway, it's finished. Other than a few more ends to weave in, I'll have it ready to go camping this next trip. And I just really like it. I'm pretty tickled with this one, actually. And I will put it on and get some pictures of it with me wearing it. And just try not to bang the microphone anymore. Sorry about that. So while I'm on 2 of Wands, I need a drink. It's warm, and this is probably the most I've talked all day. The next thing is also by 2 of Wands, and this is the Streamlined tank. It's a free pattern. I should also mention that the Easton stripe pullover, and another thing on that just came to mind. I heard from Diane, and she was going to Maryland Sheep and Wool, and she said that when she saw the sweater, she printed the pattern out and she was going to look for some wool for it while she was there. So Diane, if you are listening, and you did get wool and plan on knitting it, let us know. Put something in the comment, or I don't know if you can put pictures in the comment. Send me an email or something, and then I can show, because I think that's cool. It's a great sweater, you guys, and it's a free pattern. If you go on the blog, it is also a paid for pattern you can get off of Ravelry. All I did with the being on the blog, because of the advertisements, I just like screenshotted what I wanted for the pattern and then printed it off. So totally worth it as paid, though. It was awesomely written. It was, her patterns are so well written anyway. Highly recommend her. So 2 of Wands Streamlined tank. This is also a free pattern on her blog webpage. I'll link it. I am knitting this out of, so it's a mercerized cotton. I kind of wish I wouldn't have done the mercerized part of it. That means it's shiny, I think. I'm pretty sure. Out of Drops, and I don't know how to say this, Musket. It is 100% cotton. And this is color 61. And it comes in 50-gram balls, I guess you would call it. And it's 100 meters or 109 yards. So this is also knit. She must really like to, and I do like the look and the way that things handle when it is seamed. It really does look more polished and finished. But I don't like to seam. But I'm doing it again. I actually, if I was to knit this again, I would figure out a way to knit it in the round. So this is the Streamlined tank. I used a US 6 or a 4mm. It suggested, I believe, a US 7. I swatched for it. I didn't like the fabric. It was a little too see-through for me. So I went down a needle size and I went up a size in the size. So I didn't knit the second size. So this is, and the straps I still have on needle holders, but this is the front, and it has this repeated pattern on the sides. 1 by 1. I always do a twisted rib. I like it. I just like the looks of it. You guys probably you've probably heard me say that so many times, you're sick of it. But this repeated pattern, and look how beautifully it connects. I mean, holy cow, I think that's just absolutely gorgeous, right? That nice little viewpoint, and then it goes up into the shoulder straps. I like the shoulder straps because I can still wear a bra underneath it. I think it's just really, it's a beautifully written pattern. It is a slog for me. It feels like it. Feels like it went forever. I think this took me, well, I'm not knitting on it all the time. I have other stuff going. Plus, I'm trying to plant a garden and everything else that has to go on with life here at the farm. Crazy farm, sometimes it feels like. I don't know. I think I started it maybe a week or 10 days ago. So you knit 2 panels exactly the same, and then you seam them. Okay, so here's my thing. I soaked and blocked this because I wanted to see what the fabric looked like. I knew it wouldn't grow because it's cotton, but I just wanted to see because it was crinkled and it has softened up a lot. I think it has a really beautiful drape to it. We can fake put it on me. This is actually going to be the back piece, and I'll tell you why. And I've had to do this before when I've sewn garments, or even if I've knitted, I've had to do it before. I am large busted for my size. I am a small woman, and again, lots of them. So I'm going to use this for the back, and I want it to be a lower dropped back, if you know what I mean. I just think it looks I think it's very pretty, a little sexy kind of, but I just like it. I think it looks really pretty to have a low back drop, which is why, again, I've left these on stitch holders. I don't even remember if the pattern said to do that, but I knew ahead of time it's what I was going to do. So this will be my back. The front, I'm going to knit the next size up. I will figure out, and mostly I'm knitting the next size up for the width so that I will have more fabric to go around here. This would fit. I could totally make it work, but I don't want it to stretch around me at all. I want it to have a little more positive ease in the front. So I will be putting more fabric widthwise, I guess, more than anything. And I think it's 8 stitches. The next size up is all. I've already looked. And I think that's going to be just fine. I will be mindful and keep eye on as far as where the shaping for the armholes is. And that's how high I will go up on the next size up, but I will be building it wider, if that makes sense at all. I don't know that I'll have it done for the next podcast, although if I fart around like I did this time, just life has just got in the way. And we're trying to help my husband's uncle that's really declining, and he doesn't live close to us. You know, I did take you guys on a field trip over to Squam one time, and we've been back several times since. And it's a haul, especially when you work, 5 days a week and you have 2 days to get everything done. You guys have all been there at one time or another. It's just family obligations, things you need to do. So, Streamlined tank, although riding in the car, as long as John's driving, I do get a little bit of knitting time between going from here to Edmonds to catch the ferry ride, Kingston to Squam, and then back again. So I do get knitting time, and that's awesome. Anything else I want to tell you about it? I think that's it with this. But again, I think, the pattern is just so beautifully written. She did a great job. Very talented. She's got tons of bags. You guys, you need to go check her out. 2 of Wands. I'm not kidding. The stuff that she has on there. And I believe now she's doing masterclass knitting. I saw it come through in my email. I have no time for that. But you might want to take a look at that too. And okay, I don't need to talk much about this. This is the Jelly Roll Blanket by Kay Jones. My notes are down here, guys. Sorry if I keep looking down, but I got to keep somewhat on track. Again, I think this was intended to be knit on a US size 6, which is a 4 millimeter. I'm knitting it on, no, it's meant, I think, to be knit on a size 7, which that's 4.5, isn't it? I knit it on a 6. Again, I like the fabric better. It's a kit of acrylic yarn made by Stylecraft. It's DK. I purchased it from Wool Warehouse, and I want to say it was in a kit with a pattern that Cherry Hill wrote and designed. I want to say it is a paid for pattern. This is the yarn that I'm using by Stylecraft. Like I said, it is a double knit. This is the shade Denim, but there's so many shades that I'm using in it. And again, I'm not doing everything the same size. I'm knitting until I get tired of that color, and then I'm changing color and going somewhere else. So this is, and I'm making it round. So I'm 5'5", and I wanted it to be where I could pull it up like this and cozy up in the winter. So this is where I was last time. So I don't have a lot done. I have from here to here. And the pink, the kind of yellow, and then this denim blue is what I'm working on now. But, I mean, it's a long-term project. Blankets don't count as a whip. Yana from Finished Knitting Stories and several other people have said that. Doesn't count as a whip. This is just what you're working on. So it's all crinkled up from being rolled and tossed and Sophie getting into it. I'm going to put a picture in of Sophie. I went this morning to get up and get a cup of coffee and come back to sit down, and she had pulled it off the chair and had rolled herself around in it. So repeated pattern yarn, and I just kind of grab whatever color I'm ready to do next. There's really no rhyme or reason. So this will go on. I would love to have it done by this coming fall winter. I think I'll do, and I'm crazy to say this, but I really think I will do an I-cord edge around the whole thing on the outside. I just think that'll give it that nice little bit of stability. And it'll probably take me all winter to do it, but I can be wrapped up when I'm doing it. I just don't know the color. I don't know. I'd like to do it like in a cream, but then I think, oh, that tips and stuff. You know, they could get dirty easier, but it's acrylic. I can wash it and throw it in the dryer, right? I'm thinking. Yeah, machine wash, cool, tumble dry. Yeah. Premium acrylic. Did you guys watch the Bakery Bear thing where Kay and they were teasing back and forth about premium acrylic? Nice. It's soft. It is super soft. I'm tickled with it. And since blankets don't count as whips, here's the girl that's never knit a blanket. No, that's not true. I did a couple of Afghans a long time ago, years ago, but I haven't done a baby. No, I usually do baby quilts because it's way easier. So the Battenberg blanket by Cherry Heart, also known as Sandra Paul. It's a free pattern. I am using, and I've showed this before, so I'll be quick about it, but the Respun 100% recycled polyester by Lyons brand. This is in the color Parchment. So this is my every other square. I don't know what my other square colors are going to be. I just had this, so I started working on them. And I don't know how many I have. I'm just throwing them in my little basket that goes along with me. But I have this many. And here's the funny thing. My husband's looking at them. John's pretty astute. He's been around, well, yeah, 37 years. He's been around a knitter a long time. And he was looking at these, and he said, he calls me Paige. Paige, why do some of these have 5 rows and some have 4 rows? I'm like, they do not. They're all the same. Look, they do. I don't know what I was thinking. Some of them only have 4 rows. How can your gauge change that much? I guess because I'm really not that great of a hooker. This has 4, 5. Same size, 3.5 millimeter hook. Only me. Again, you guys, only me. Who would notice that? John would. So, like I said, I don't know what my every other color is going to be. I don't think I have that many that have 5 rows in them. I could. I didn't count them by that time. I saw a few, and then I saw some that were, I was like, John, really? Did you have to bring that to my attention? I guess I was just doing them to the same size, and some days I must have just really been in a mood and knit tight, and other days I had this free flowing, and I actually kind of like just the free flowing one better. But when I have them mixed in, nobody will know the difference. And truly, you know who I'm making this for? I'm making this for Sophie. She needs a blanket. I pretty much made all of my dog's quilts. She's actually the first one I've knit. Oh, this is crochet. Actually crocheting something for. So long-term project. It's something I can throw. Again, I do a few of these on the ferry or on the road when I'm driving. I try to do one in the morning at least. And of course, I don't look at a pattern, because if I did, I probably wouldn't end up with 4 or 5 different rows in every other one. Because, you know, but that's how we roll here. The last real, well, here's a small whip. It's just, I'm going to show you real quick, but it's just another dishcloth. Dawn made me feel so good about dishcloths being FOs when they're done that I figured, let's do another one, Carol. Plus, mine are starting to get kind of ratty. I have a lot of them, and I trade them out every day. Probably everybody does. But I have a new one at least every day in the kitchen. I love them. There's nothing that washes better. And this color, I just love this color. Isn't that just, I like it. Kind of reminds me of fall, and fall's my very favorite season of all. And this is Peaches and Cream in the color 12020. Exciting, right? Worsted 4-ply. Typical, it's a 56, 7 grams, 95 yards. And the Peaches and Cream. I think I got it at Walmart. I think actually I added it into my grocery order because I had to have at least $35 to be able to just drive up and pick it up. And I think that's how I ended up with it. But I love the color. I would get more. And the last whip I have is my husband's socks. I have another pair of his other wool ones, but I set those off to the side because he won't wear those now till fall. And I think I just need to do the foot and the toe on one and a toe on the other one. So I started these. These are opal. And that's right. I can never read these right. These are a 75-25. 75 virgin wool, 25 polyamide. And it is, I'm guessing one of this says the color, and the other one, Good Morning City. Good Morning City. And that's what they would look like depending upon how you knitted them up. And so with John socks, I do a 72 stitch cast on. I'm trying the 8-inch circulars again. 8-inch? Are they 9-inch? Oh my gosh, I can't remember, you guys. They're 8 Chow Gu, US 2, 2.75 millimeter, 72 stitch. I want to see if my gauge is any different on doing these little needles as opposed to DPNs. Because I've heard people say that their gauge, when they use these little round shorties like this, that their gauge changes. Doesn't feel like my gauge has changed. Anyway, one by one, guess what? Knitted through the back loop, rib, 4, until I got tired of it. Actually, I just did it here until I got to the next color. No pattern in these. I just, whenever I change color, mostly, I do a knit one, purl one row, just to kind of give it a little more texture. Otherwise, the yarn's doing the show. This was a big area that I just did stockinette and then broke it up with a knit one, purl one. You can tell. And, you know, it's Fred Flintstone sock. It's going to be a size huge, 12.5 double E foot on it. So I'm going to go probably about that much more, and then I'll start the heel. Now, as you guys have told, I always do socks 2 at a time, right? I cannot find my other shorty US2 to start the other one. I separated, weighed out so that I could do the 2 at a time because I really get second sock syndrome bad. I don't want to order a new set because the minute I order a new set of these needles, I'm going to find them. I have no clue what I did with them. So this one's ready to go. And I think it's actually, the way I measured it off, I think it's actually going to start right exactly where I started that one. What do you make of that? It looks like it to me, and the way that the color is coming down. Maybe not. Maybe there's no yellow. Oh, maybe I'm just like, maybe not. I thought I would try and make that so that they would be twins, but if not, they can be brothers. I'm fine with that too. But pretty cute. I like the fabric that it's making. I like that these are a little more woolly and rustic feeling, which I know John will like as well. I don't think I've knit him any opal socks before, or have I? I know I've knit Regia. I don't know if I've knit. Anyway, it feels similar to me. Great workhorse yarn. I've knit myself out of opal. I have dinky feet. I can usually get 2 pair out of one skein. That is all for the whips. The only thing plan ahead I have, well, I have several things planned ahead, but the only thing I was really going to talk about, and I must have left the paper for it, it's an Isabel Kramer Cowboys and Angels shawl, and it was quite popular a while back. Something I've always looked at and always really loved, and I thought, boy, I could really wear that. I wanted to do it in a goldish kind of color, mustardy. And I think I know I've told you guys before that I'm really trying to knit from stash, and I have a lot of Madeline Tosh that I need to use, or I really should destash it. I don't know if I have it in me to take pictures and then have to mail it, and it just makes my head kind of spin. So I didn't have enough of this color, this mustardy color. I don't even remember the name of it. I think I only had 600 yards, and this pattern calls for 840 yards, I believe it is. It's quite a large shawl. And anyway, I have had this color for a long time, and I've always really loved it. And it's called Oak. It's by Madeline Tosh. It is 100% superwash merino. It's DK weight, 225 yards, 206 meters. You know, it always amazes me that it says machine wash in cold water, and then I would never put it in the machine. I just couldn't. I would be a nervous wreck, especially after what I did to my Louise sweater in the dryer when my husband burned his truck up. I know I keep beating that up, but I don't think I'll ever forget that. Anyway, this is the Tosh DK in the color Oak. And let me see where I can get you. Being outside, getting the right color, you know, it kind of, oh, right there. And I always thought I would do a sweater out of it. And I know it's not a color for everybody, but it's a color for me. But I think in the shawl, it's going to be beautiful. I think it'll show it off. I have a jacket that it'll be really beautiful over in the wintertime. Oops, and I hit the microphone again. Oh, Lord. Anyway, I think it's going to be really beautiful. So I want to get that cast on. It's going to take me a while to do it, I know. I believe it does start out at the pointed thin end. I printed the pattern, was going to bring it out here, and I've set it down somewhere. Anyway, I would like to get going on that. And there's a couple of sweaters I want to get going on. One is a color work. I'll try to bring those up next time. I kind of feel like I should do another summer knit since, you know, it's only May, even though we're towards the end of it, but it is only May. So I was thinking I should do maybe, there's several. I mean, there's several. See the hummingbird? You see him? We're going to come over here and have a bite to eat. It's lunchtime. Glad to have him back. Did I ever finish that story? So first part of May, I'm guessing it's everywhere, but I do know here This is actually an Anne, I believe. And have you ever heard the noise they make with their tail? And it sounds like, I thought for a long time it was a woodpecker, but it's actually a noise they make with their tail. It's like the reed of a clarinet, the noise that they can make. It's fascinating. Anyway, when they have babies, and their babies usually hatch late April, early Mayish around here, as a rule generally, they then they forage and get grubs and worms that they can regurgitate to feed their babies. And so we don't see them at the feeders for probably 2 to 3 weeks easily. And I really miss them, but it's a great time to bring the feeders in, give them a good soak. I wash them well anyway in between, but really give them a hearty soak. And so anyway, they're just now slowly coming back, and I love it because we spend a lot of time out here on the deck, and I love hearing them and watching them. They're amazing little creatures, what they can do and the energy that they expel. So like I said, we have the privilege and the enjoyment of having them year round. So I do love that. And let's see, I had a couple of other things I wanted to bring up. There's a couple of podcasts I have been chatting back and forth with, and I'd like you to give them a chance, check them out, see what you think. I'll put the links down below. And the first one is Katie, and she is at Duck Potatoes World, I believe. That girl has so many demos and instructions on that, anything from like reverse knitting to gardening. She homeschools. She has the coolest sock knitting machine on there that I really want. As a matter of fact, I told John that he could combine my birthday, Christmas, anniversary, whatever. But I need to watch Katie do it a little bit more to see if I really feel like I can do it. It looks pretty entailed, but pretty amazing. Quite a waiting list to get on it. I'll include that information in here too if I can think of it. Anyway, give her a shout, watch her, tell her that you saw her mention here. And then the other one is Wool Hobby. Her name's Linda, and she does a podcast both in English and Dutch. Amazing, right? To be able to do it in 2 different languages. So I started following and watching her. She is a maker, a dyer. She's just a talented lady all the way around. And it just truly impresses me when they do these podcasts in 2 languages. It's pretty amazing. So I will leave the links to both Wool Hobby and to Duck Potatoes World down there. And speaking of 2 people that can, or another person that does 2 languages, and the other one is It Is a Sarah. Have you guys? She's just adorable. There's no other word to describe her. And she also does, I think she does 2 podcasts a week, 2 in English and 2 in Dutch. And I'll leave the link to her as well, because these 3 gals, they're pretty impressive. I enjoy actually watching all of them. And the only other thing I wanted to touch on, and this is like 43 minutes. I don't know that I'll do it here, but I'm just going to throw a short one out. I've been hearing a lot again, podcasters talk about doing selfish knitting when they're knitting for themselves. I don't understand that. I don't see how it's selfish when you knit for yourself. That makes no sense to me. Your craft and your hobby and what you truly enjoy and love to do should not be obligated, I don't feel, to somebody else. I mean, yes, we love to gift people with knits if they're knit worthy, right? And you soon find out who's knit worthy, because so many people don't understand the amount of work that goes into it. So it just seems like it comes in waves when I will hear a lot of doing selfish knitting, and I don't think it's selfish at all. I think it is good for our soul. It's good for our mental health. It's a gift we give to ourselves. And when we wear those items that we have knit ourselves, it can bring us back to times that may not always be the most happy moments, but they have memories in them, and you've knit memories into them. I can look back and see knits of when my folks were alive and kids are young and parents and grandparents are getting old and grandbabies come around, and I don't see it as selfish at all. I see it as building memories with wool. So anybody has any ideas on that, send me a message, leave a comment. I'd be curious to see how many people actually think of it as selfish knitting if you're making something for yourself. If that's the case, I'm pretty selfish. I mean, I've knit for a lot of people, but other than the socks for my husband, everything else is for me today. And I don't feel selfish about that at all. I just feel like it's self-care, it's self-love, and it's doing something that I'm truly passionate about. And who better to appreciate? Hear that? That's made with their tail. It's crazy. Little tiny bird, little itty bitty. So that's my thing on that. Books, if you guys have any suggestions, I'm an audiobook listener. I had a couple that I was going to talk about, but again, we're just getting like, this is long for me because I'm well overdue. And the other things I think I'll just leave for next time. And I think that's it for today, you guys. It's been a pleasure. I'm glad to finally get the chance to sit down. I hope the background noise isn't bad. I hope I didn't tap the heck out of the microphone. I hope you've enjoyed my little friends here that have come by for a visit on my shoulder. Sophie and Chance are over there laying in the shade because they're thinking, who turned the heat up? This is crazy. Even though Sophie's a California girl, she was brought up from California from a very high kill rescue, but we've had her 5 years. So going actually on 6, it'll be 6 in September. So she's used to our weather now. Ah, the breeze is lovely. Anyway, I think that's it. I am going to include towards the end here. Here goes that truck through. I hope it's not too loud. A little walk through the garden. Our beans literally blew up out of the ground in 3 days. Cucumbers, 4 days. It's this heat. The soil is so nice and warm, and my husband is such a good little waterer. He's out there every night and on the weekends watering. I do the planting, he does the watering. Then from there I pretty much take it, but he's a good help to start off with, and he runs the equipment, the rototiller. So God love him for that, right? Anyways, please, if you enjoyed this rat race of a show that I put on, leave a like. That would be awesome. A comment. If you choose to subscribe, thank you so much. It really does help the channel grow, and it just kind of boosts my little, let's to do it again. And it's fun, and it's been good for me anyway. And I love the connections that I've made so far. It's the priceless gifts. They really are. People all around the world. Blows my mind. So please, if you are in the market for a new family member of the four-legged variety, please adopt and don't shop. The life you save could be your very best friend. And we have had many very best friends that way. And as Bob Barker would say, do y'all remember him? He used to always say, spay and neuter your pets. Absolutely. That saves lives. And if you can foster, we have found in rescue over the years, since we started rescuing in 1989, fostering is what saves lives. So with that, I will see you soon, and enjoy. If you do care to watch the rest on the gardening, and I'll throw a few things in with Sophie and Chance, and maybe even a word from, or a peek at John and I doing something crazy like we do. Okay, take care, guys. I hope to see you soon.